Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm doing another Keeping It Neutral episode. So people seem to enjoy the Keeping It Neutral series that I did back in November. So I thought I'd continue with it. And today I'm doing like a day to night look. So the daytime won't be like a simple, minimal, everyday look. It's more if you're going out places, like for, I don't know, shopping with friends, going out for food in the daytime, or even if it's to the office but you want to make a little bit, add something to your face. That's the kind of day look I'm going for. And then I will transfer it as it is, but to a slightly more kind of evening look. Say if you are going straight from office to out, wherever it is in the evening, and kind of I'm going to include the base and my tips and tricks of how it's easy to kind of keep your makeup in a good condition and add to it for an evening look. Now, with that said, the eyes can be for anyone. The base, as I predominantly prefer cream makeup on the base, it's like cream blusher, liquid highlight and all that. It'd be tips and tricks on keeping the cream base going throughout the day to evening. If you are someone who uses predominantly powders, let me know and I could do a different version with using a powder face routine. But like I said, I predominantly use creams, so I'm going to go with that for today's video. So we're going to kick off with the day look. Now I'm going to do this in real time, so it's the weekend, it's not a work day, but it's 8:45 in the morning. I'm going to do the daytime look and then I will leave it on at about 5-6 o'clock this evening. I'll come back, show you what it's looking like and show you how I kind of add to it, transform it into a bit more of an evening nighttime look. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. So what I'm going to do first is add a bit of that aloe vera gel just to get some moisture into the skin. I mean, we are actually out and about today because we're going to look at houses. So I am going to be out the house and busy about, but okay, now usually with a daytime look I don't go in with primer because I find that aloe vera is enough, but because I do want the base to last as long as it can, so there's not too much touching up in the evening, I'm going to take a primer. So this is the e.l.f. Hydro Grip Primer. This will just help the longevity of the base makeup, so predominantly in the T-zone area. So I'm going to rely on this because, like I said, I don't tend to use powders. I find that by not setting it, there's more movability with the cream products for me to kind of touch up, neaten up, add more to without disrupting or making anything look cakey. So that is also why I do prefer cream products. But that is why I've gone in with this primer, just to help with that longevity. So I'm going to go in with the foundation. I'm going to take my Hint Beauty concealer in Fair. I'm just going to do a light layer of this for the actual foundation portion, just to give myself a nice kind of even finish to the skin. I'm just using a buffing brush for this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do for foundation. I'm now going to go back in with it and just go a little bit heavier on the areas where I want more concealing. So under the eyes and a little bit on these blemishes here. So I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques concealer brush for this. I'm just going to pop some under the eyes. And on blemishes as well. I'm going to take my buffing brush and then just go ahead and buff all those in. So this is what we've got going on with the face makeup so far. And then all I'm going to do is add a little bit of blusher to my cheeks. So I'm going to take the Lily Lolo Cream and Cheek tint in Lip and Cheek tint in Dahlia. So slightly more neutral nude shade. And just add this to the cheeks. I'm just going to pat this on just to add a nice soft flush to the cheeks. And that is all I'm going to do to the base portion. So I'm going to fill it in my brows now. I'm going to take my ABH powder in the dark auburn shade. Just going with a very light hand with the brows. And then I'm going to get with the Kosas Air Brow Gel just to kind of set them in place and bring the hairs back to life. Okay, moving on to the eyes. I'm going to take my Lily Lolo eye primer to prep and prime the eyes. So going in with the Beauty Bay Nude Matte Palette, I'm actually going to start off by taking the shade Raw Sienna. I'm just going to buff this through the crease. I'm going to take a relatively fluffy brush to do so. I'll go back and forth and just add a bit of definition to the crease area. I'm going to build on it slightly, so I'm going to go in with Cinnamon next. But not go as high up into the crease as I did previously, so focus it more in the crease. So I'm actually just going to take my finger and go in with nothing else and just dust that along the inner portion of the lid, just to brighten and slightly set that area. I actually take an eye pencil. This is the Lily Lolo eye pencil in brown. And I'm going to run this along the upper lash line. Probably bringing it halfway across the lash line. I'm not winging it out at all. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is take a... So then I want to take a pencil brush. I'm going to go in with the shade Slow Motion. I don't want anything too dark. Tap off, and I'm just going to go on top of that brown liner and start softening it and blending it out, creating a real soft, subtle smoke. And it's just going to help define the kind of upper lash line, create a bit of depth on this outer portion, and just define the eyes a little bit. And actually I'm going to bring, especially on the outer portion, bring it right up almost towards the crease, just to lengthen it slightly. Then I'm going to go back in with nothing else and just sweep a bit more across the lid and almost buff into what we've just done, just to really soften that out. And you can go back and forth. I'm going to take a bit more slow motion. Just primarily make sure the outer portion is nice and defined. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do to the eyes. So it's just to define them, brightened up the inner portion, add some depth to the outer portion and the lash line slightly. So I'm just going to go in mascara. I'm going to take the Lily Lolo Big Lash and just do my upper lashes a couple of coats. Okay, then finishing off the daytime portion is lips. Now I've already got a little bit of the Juicy Gloss from e.l.f. on my lips, just because I find it actually almost works really well as a lip balm, even though it's not what it's intended for, but I really enjoy it. So I've got that on, and what I'm going to do is just go in with Dahlia again and just add a little bit to the lips. It's going to have a bit of colour, just a nice soft nude, but also going to keep the gloss. So something like this, so like I said, it's more of a daytime look if you're going to do something, not just a very simple everyday look. A little bit of definition to the eyes, very simple on the skin still. And like I said, I'm going to come back later this evening kind of show you how I touch up and turn the skin and the eyes into something more for an evening night out purpose. So I hope you enjoyed this first half. I hope you like this kind of daytime look that I've got going on, but comment later for when I transform it into more of an evening look. Okay, so I'm back. The time is now 5 o'clock, or just gone 5 o'clock. So this is what my makeup is looking like so far. So definitely a little bit shinier than I was this morning. Some coverage has slightly disappeared from my chin and kind of my T-zone area, which is to be expected. A little bit of fade on the eyes, but apart from that, everything is still looking relatively good. So now I'm going to kind of show you me transferring this more into the evening look. Now what I like to do, and this is why I prefer using creams in general, is because I feel that because I haven't set with the powder, I've got more room to move the makeup and to kind of play with it without it going too cakey or anything like that. So what I do want to do first is just grab a bit of water. This is just water in here, but I really like the mist of it's also going to add a bit more hydration back to the skin. I'm going to let it settle for a bit and then I can start going in and adding what I need to add. So in terms of the base, I'm just going to go in with my concealer in the places that I want to, and then I am going to add a bit of a highlighter. I'm going to go a bit heavy with a blusher, and that's kind of my skin portion done because that's what I typically like to do for the skin. I think I might just fill in my brows a little bit more to make them darker, and then we're going to really kind of darken up the eyes and kind of transform them into something a bit more smokier, a bit bolder, ready for the evening. So, is going to go back in with Hint Beauty Concealer. Now my under eyes aren't actually looking too bad, but so I'm just going to place a little bit under there, a little bit here because some of the redness is peeking through again, and then just where it's fade on the chin, where I do tend to lean on the chin area, and also just where my oils have come through. I'm just going to add a little bit more coverage there, and I am going to just need a little bit more on some of these areas here. I'm actually going to use my finger this time for under the eyes and just tap. I really purposely want to use tapping motions just because it's going to help blend in the product. It's not going to move your original product around too much. I mean, you want some kind of movability with what you've already got on, but it will just help blend everything a little bit easier together. Take my buffing brush and just buff out those other areas that I've put the concealer. And like I said, just tap or blend, a beauty blender actually, or just some kind of makeup sponge. Will work really well for kind of touching up your makeup because you kind of, it will just really melt into the skin again. Okay, so I've just gone in with a touch more concealer in areas. Now I actually want to add, and now I do want to add some highlighter, so I'm actually going to go with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. Oh, it's probably a bit too much. Now I'm going to glow up the skin. And again, using more tapping motions and not swiping motions will also help just to really blend everything together. Okay, now I do want to amp up the blusher, so I'm going to go with Peony this time. Because Dahlia is such a nice neutral shade, it's going to be really easy to go on top with a different shade. If I use this to begin with, I'd probably just go back in with this one and just intensify a bit more, but because I'm in such a neutral shade and I want a bit more impact, I'm going in with this shade instead. And as always, still just using those tapping motions. Okay, now, although it says all creams, what I'm going to do this time round is just add a little bit of setting powder. The final look of the day, I can go in with some powder now. So I'm just going to take the Illamasqua, but I'm literally just going to like a light dusting across the T-zone area. I do just want to deepen up my eyebrows slightly, so I'm actually going to go in with the chocolate shade this time. Because my hair is slightly darker now, I'm going to go in with chocolate. And I'm just going to go over areas ever slightly, just more to deepen them up. I'm not going to go in with more of the brow gel because the hairs are still very much in place, which I really love. It's more that I just want to deepen them up ever so slightly, make them a bit more defined. Now moving on to the eye portion. So where the first look I use primarily a fluffy brush, apart from obviously the pencil brush, I want something a little bit denser this time. So I'm going to go in with the Sigma E25 brush. It's much denser, it's going to pick up a lot more product than the fluffy brush we used the first time round and really pack that colour on. Now I'm going to stick with the browns. I don't want to go too heavy with the black, but I'm going to take After Dark, which is the darkest brown. And I'm going to start packing this onto the outer portion. So we're going to do a very similar look to the first look, but kind of a bit more intense. So definition on the outer portion, although it won't be just along the lash line now, it'll be right up into the crease. I'm just going to add that nice smoke. I'm going to take that fluffy brush you used to begin with, and I'm actually going to take some of Slow Motion and just use that to start buffing out what I've got going on. Actually, I think with the exception of that very first shade, After Dark, that I put down, we're going to use the exact same shades as I used for the day look. We've just deepened it up and smoked up a bit more by using that darker brown. I'm going to take a much fluffier brush, go in with Raw Sienna, and just warm up this inner portion and just do the final blend. Now I'm not going anything too crazy with the eyes in terms of using lots of colours, doing too much in terms of the technique, because the idea is obviously you don't have that time to necessarily take off all your makeup, or you're not at home and you're in the office or whatever you may be, and you want to add something extra. And although this seems like it's very dramatic, it's a lot more smokier, it's actually not going to take too long. I mean, I started at what, 5:05, it's now 5:20, so it's not too bad in terms of time wise. Finally, nothing else, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing where I dust it onto the lid just to kind of brighten up the inner portion. And I'm very aware this is an all matte look, as have my other Keeping It Neutral series have been, but I will do one where it's matte versus shimmer soon. And I'm actually going to take some Nothing Else and use it as like a matte brow bone highlight. Okay, and I'm going to keep it all to the upper lash line just to make it super quick, super easy. It's still going to look dramatic on the eye, still got a smoke, but just to give that softer finish, but also be a quicker finish. And then what we do is load up my upper lashes with mascara. So I'm going to go on to lips. I am going to add a bit of a deeper lip on, nothing too crazy. Those Nude Allure. No, sorry, just Nude lip liner. Okay, and then I'm going to go with 100% Pure Sandstone. So it's still very nude, but it's just a slightly deeper nude. It's going to add to the adds the look. And then that kind of completes this evening look, but I am just going to change out one other thing, because this is something I would do if I were doing this, and it's nothing crazy, but I'm just going to switch my headband. There's something a bit more fun. This isn't necessary, this is me. If you've watched me a while, you know I love my headbands and headscarves and all sorts, so this is something I would do, just switch up the headbands from like a simple day look to a slightly more evening look. Now what I've just remembered is I've still got mascara here, so I'm just gonna... So this is what I would do if I was going from a kind of daytime to an evening look. Like I said, I'm predominantly a cream based product person, so this is what I would do, and the techniques I'd use to transform it from day to evening. With the evening look, I did set it with a bit of powder, just because as it's the final look, just to make sure it does stay. The first look we use the primer, the second look we use the powder, just to help make sure it all lasts just that little bit longer. And then the eyes, like I said, it's pretty much the same colours as the pre-daytime look, just making it slightly darker with the deeper brown and smoking up a bit more. And it's now 17:26, so it didn't take me long at all. So if you're at the office, it'd probably be quicker if I wasn't talking and stuff. So it didn't take me too long to transform it from day to evening either. I still think it's quite simple. I went slightly deep with the nude, but I didn't go for like a colourful lip, just in case that, you know, if you're in a rush, that goes wrong, that can be a nightmare. So keep it still nude, but I just went for a slightly deeper nude instead. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed another Keeping It Neutral episode, day to evening look. Any future videos, please do leave them down below, and let me know your comments on this video and the two looks. And yeah, I'll see you all in my next video, and thank you so much for watching.